couple of years, I've been traveling and documenting my trips, and I've had a bunch of people ask me how I edit my travel vlogs to make it look like film. So I'm finally here to answer all of your questions and share my process. First and foremost, I want to go over the gears that I use, because oftentimes when we watch videos on YouTube, the first thing that comes to mind is, what did this person use? What was the camera that they have? What is the lens that they have? Do I need to get new accessories for my camera? So here's what I've been bringing with me when I travel and go on trips. Starting with my bag, the Telfeezy. Listen, y'all, when it comes to the bag that I have, I'm very picky with the bag, because not only do I want to protect my gear, but I also want to look good. And I'm not really a backpack type of person. I don't like it when the bag looks very bulky. What I love about the Telfar is, in my opinion, it's the perfect size. It's simple, it's fashionable, and the price is not really crazy. I would say, obviously, it's not your typical camera bag, but that's why I love it. I switch it up a lot when I travel, actually. Sometimes I use my Balenciaga city bag. I use my Louis Vuitton denim. It really depends. As somebody that loves like fashion and bags as well, you will not catch me carrying a big ass camera bag. Not anymore. Next up is my camera. My main body is the Sony a7C II. I'm gonna be honest, I ended up buying the Sony a7C II because I wanted a camera that was a hybrid. It is perfect for both photography and both taking videos. And if y'all didn't know, I used to do photography a lot. I used to be a freelance photographer. So I still wanted a camera that could serve that purpose in case I ever want to pick up photography again. As for the lenses, there are 3 lenses that I want to talk about and go through. The first one being the Sigma 24-17mm Mark II. I really love this lens. I do not regret spending a lot on it. Really amazing quality, and the fact that it has this little aperture ring makes it so much easier for me to take videos. It's also Sigma, and you will later on learn that I love this brand. I love this brand of lens. Sigma has really good quality lenses and are so much more affordable than most of the lenses that Sony offers, because they almost always offer the same type of lenses for Sony. So whenever I do want something from Sony lenses and I feel like they're a little bit too out of my budget, I go ahead and buy Sigma lenses. When I do feel like being more a little bit cinematic and not just, making my footage look like film, because there is a difference with making your footage look like film and having the footage actually being cinematic, this is the type of lens that I use. Now, I don't really go around traveling and carrying around my 24-70 a lot. This is just when I feel like I want to be a little bit extra. One thing about me is I hate switching out my lenses when I'm on the go. So whenever I need something that is perfect for everything that I need, and I feel like I don't have to constantly switch up the lens, I use the Sony 16mm 1.8. because I really needed a lens that has a wider aperture than the old wide lens that I have, which is the Sigma 10-18mm 2.8. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this lens. Again, amazing lens by Sigma, great quality, and not really a crazy price. But it is an APS-C lens, and my camera body is a full frame camera. So if I film footage as is, there will be a black vignette around, which I don't really mind. I actually have grown to love it, but I still really wanted something that had a wider aperture, and again, something that, didn't have that feature. So I did recently make that switch from the 10-18 to the 16mm lens. The reason why I have these ND filters is for me to be able to capture footage when it is very bright outside, and I don't have to sacrifice, switching up my aperture, because it basically acts like sunglasses for your lenses and makes it possible for you to shoot without, again, changing your aperture and your shutter speed. Now, when it comes to the mic, I am not gonna lie, I did invest a lot on the mic because I wanted to up the audio quality of my vlogs from this. And vlogging has been such a fun way for me to do it. So now this. And so I got the Sony ECM2 because not only does it take good quality audio, it also have a bunch of options that make it easier for me to film, make it easier for me to edit after, and it also has a feature that is able to cut out the background noise if possible. I also want to go over the tripods that I use. So for my tabletop and on-the-go tripod, I use the Manfrotto Pixie Evo Mini tripod. I've seen a bunch of other YouTubers use this, like my fam, and it is great and it does the job. And when I use my 24 to 70, it is able to carry that weight. So that's what I love about it. And then as for the bigger tripod, whenever I do film like more scenic stuff, and if I need to just be like further away, I do have the Surrey tripod that I'm using right now, but this is also something that I got from B&H Photo, and this is what they suggested, that is very lightweight, perfect for travel, and again, not on the heftier price side. Lastly, I want to mention that I also do use a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 whenever I go outside and I feel like I don't want to bring like a big ass camera with me. That is what I use. The Osmo Pocket 3 is perfect for me because it takes amazing quality footage. It can go up to 4K, and I am still also able to shoot in log with this camera, and it is just perfect for, again, when I don't want to bring a big camera and I need more stable footage. When it comes to camera settings, I do shoot in S-Log3, and if you didn't know, log footage is basically a video format wherein your camera captures a wide variety of data, and so you end up with a flat, desaturated image that is perfect for color grading. Just a disclaimer, I only recently started shooting with S-Log3, I think about like a year ago. That is when I got this camera. I got it for that purpose. That being said, I am self-taught and I am still experimenting with my settings. But for my camera settings, this is everything you need to know. This is what I use when I travel. Moving over, I think this is a part that you guys are actually waiting for, which is the editing. How do I make my travel vlogs look like film? While your equipment and your camera settings matter, a huge part of how I do that is the way that I edit. But a couple weeks ago, while I was actually traveling, I had Dehancer reach out to me to review their product. So I will be showing y'all how I edit using Dehancer, and I will be handing y'all to Editing Mav for now. Hey y'all, I want to apologize for the quality. I am somewhere else and I forgot to bring my camera with me, so we're just gonna have to do this FaceTime style. Like I said, I've had Dehancer in the past before they reached out to me, so that alone tells you how I feel about Dehancer. I'm glad that I did buy it, especially for this one feature that I will be mentioning later. But to start off, we are gonna try and recreate the color grading that I did for this one. So what I usually do, I will have 5 different nodes. Also, just because I can't remember the shortcut for adding nodes, we are gonna do this manually. Let's not judge me. Like I said, I'm still learning how to do things. Also, like, I'm still learning how to color grade and everything. We will start with the 5th node. I know that's kind of weird, but I just want to show y'all the features of Dehancer first and foremost. So we will be dragging Dehancer on the 5th node, and I know it looks crazy, but we're gonna fix it. So the amazing thing about Dehancer, and one of the things that makes it stand out in my opinion and makes it very, very like worth the money, is the fact that you have your own CST controls over here, meaning you can fix the color input and color output with just a click of a button. You can also do that on DaVinci itself, which I will show you in a little bit, but the difference with DaVinci and Dehancer is on Dehancer you can actually pick your camera that you use. So right here I will be clicking Sony, and then I'll be clicking A7C2, and then I will be clicking the format that I use, which I used Cine. Cine. So that makes my footage look a little bit better, obviously, but it's still not the look that I want. So we're just gonna leave this alone for now. I'm gonna turn this off actually, just so I can show y'all how to do it on DaVinci itself. So if you want to adjust your CST on DaVinci, your color space transform, put it like that, and then put in the necessary info that you used when you filmed your footage. So what I did for here was Sony S-Log3, and then Rec 709 for both of these. So this is how it looks like when I do it on DaVinci. So just because I actually do prefer how it looks like on DaVinci, I will be using the DaVinci method. But like I said, this is a really great feature for dehancer. So if you're someone like me who is, again, a beginner and doesn't really know much yet, then this is an amazing feature because like I said, you can just go ahead and choose the camera that you use when you filmed the footage. So just to reset, I will apply the dehancer on this again, and then I won't be changing this one just because, like I said, I am gonna go ahead and use the color space transform from DaVinci itself, which I will label right now. So this is CST. Now let's go through everything that we can do through dehancer one by one. So obviously, looking at this, you can do a lot of things on dehancer, starting with the exposure, the temperature, the tint, the defringe, and the defringe radius. I don't really touch this as much depending on my footage. If I need to, I will, but if I don't really, touch it. But for the film, so this is dehancer's main feature, because dehancer, like I said, is a film simulation. So all of their like quote unquote filters, or all of their looks, are based on existing film looks. They're all based on existing film looks. So if you see familiar names on here, that is why. In the photography world, I actually really love the Portra 400, but for video format, I don't really like it as much. So what I usually use is the Kodak Vision 250D or the 500T or the 50D, but for now I will be using the Kodak 250D. You can also use the push and pull effects, and as you can see, it kind of changes like the contrast, the colors as well. So I like to keep this untouched as well, and then I like to leave it at that. But yeah, so next up is film developer. So make sure you enable this if ever you want to adjust your film developer tab. The only thing that I touch on film developer, honestly, is either color boost or contrast boost. When it comes to my videos, I like to make my videos very contrasty, but not, not too much. So I will sometimes put this up a little bit. The change is very, very subtle, which I love. And then I will also put up the color boost a little bit to make the colors pop out a little bit more, because as you can see, it's very muted right now. If I pull it up more, the more that the colors will show up. But I do not like this oversaturated look, so we are gonna go with around maybe 20 for now. For film compression, I don't really touch this one as well, but just so y'all know, this actually kind of changes like the highlights and the tones of your footage. If I try to do this, as you can see, again, it could look very, very more muted or less saturated. Expand, I don't really use as well either, but just so y'all could see, this is what it does. Basically, you're able to manipulate your blacks and your whites with this feature. Too much will boost the whites way too much, and then too less would make it more muted. So moving on to the print, I actually don't really touch anything. When I use this, I do have it enabled, but I don't touch anything. You might be wondering why they have another feature where you can touch the exposure, tonal contrast, color density, and saturation. And that is because when you do the actual film printing and film scanning in real life, the printing of an image affects the way that your image looks. So that is why they are giving us the ability to be able to adjust our exposures, our contrast, our color densities, etc. So moving on to color head, this is a feature that I used to use a lot actually, and I honestly stopped using it, not because it's bad, but because I just prefer to control or to change my colors on DaVinci. Being able to control your colors on dehancer is one of the things that I would say is a con to me, just because I feel like you have a little bit less control with how your colors would look like on dehancer. But I will go ahead and show y'all how it looks if ever you do decide to use it. So as you can see, you can adjust your yellow blues, your magenta greens, and your cyan reds. I'm familiar with this because I used to use Photoshop a lot when I was a photographer. But again, I just don't really love using it when I edit my videos. But if I decide to, this is how I would usually do it. I like to make this a little bit brownish in a way, just like that. My shadow and tones is also something that you can't control over here. I will leave this untouched though. And then your midtones. This one I really love, the midtones, just because I kind of like a little bit of yellow in there. And this one as well is the highlights. Again, I like the yellow in there. But right now it is looking like an Instagram filter. We will be fixing this with the rest of our nodes in a little bit. Again, it's not bad, but it is not my favorite way to control my colors, so that is why I will go ahead and uncheck it for now. For film grain, however, this has to be my favorite feature on dehancer, and the reason why I used it for so long. Before I bought DaVinci Resolve Studio, and if you didn't know, you cannot use grain on the free version of DaVinci. So what I've been doing is I will color grading on DaVinci, and then I will be using the film grain feature on dehancer. So what I love about this is they give you a bunch of options. There's 8mm, there's 16, there's 35, and different ISOs of film grain. Basically, the lower you go, the more grainy it looks, and then the higher you go, the more fine the grain is. So if you don't really like the grainy look, you can go ahead and use the 35. I think that's like the perfect grain look. You can just play around and then choose which ISO you end up using. Just know that the higher the ISO is, the more noticeable the grain is. But yeah, I usually go with the 250 or the 50 ISO, and then you can also adjust the amounts. So I don't like to go crazy. I will be going with around the 25 mark. And then there's also halation on this. Again, another feature that you can use on DaVinci, but if you decide to buy dehancer and then have the free version of DaVinci, this is perfect because halation is not available in the free version of DaVinci. It's not as noticeable with my footage right here, but halation basically just makes the highlights, oh, right here, this is halation. So, oh, like that. More noticeable when you go with the 8mm. If you go with the 35, not as noticeable. Go with the 16. In my opinion, 16 is the best. This is another like film look that is very popular, especially with this film simulation called Cineprint. Again, I used halation a lot when I first started color grading. I don't really use it as much anymore, but when I did use it and I had a free version of DaVinci, I would be using the halation feature on dehancer. All the other tabs after halation, I honestly don't really use as much. Bloom, film damage, film breath, and gate weave, those are some of the things that you can adjust and make your footage look different. And again, I just don't really use it just because that's not the type of look that I'm looking for. But they are great features, and I believe that they make your footage look more like film, and that is the whole point. Then moving on, since this is not the desired output that I want for personally for my color grading, what I do is I will use dehancer to make my footage look better, but the base of my colors and everything would be on DaVinci through a LUT or through my own color grading. So for this specific one, I will be showing y'all how I do it with a LUT. So for this specific look, I will be using Arthur's LUT. He is another creator. You've probably seen some of his work on TikTok because he is very known in the color grading world. But Arthur is another creator who does the type of vlogs that I want to do. And so I really love his look, but obviously this is too much right now. So what we will do is apply the LUT and then adjust the key output over here on this tab. I like to leave it at around 620, and then I will just adjust the needed things that I need to adjust. So before anything, let me go ahead and label this as LUTs. So what I'll do for the second node is I like to also adjust my highlights and my brightness and stuff on DaVinci. Again, this is just another personal preference because I just got used to it. I will be labeling this as my brightness. And then on my fourth node, what I do for this one is that's when I'll adjust the gain. Because as you can see, this footage is a little bit more warmer in the highlights, a little bit warmer on the skin. It's looking already similar. You can adjust the lift as well if you want to, but honestly, I don't really touch this that much. The gamma as well. And then another thing that I do, depending on the footage, is I will go to color slice and then I will adjust the skin tab. So if I feel like my skin looks a little bit off, like in terms of color, what I don't like is the red. Kind of looks very like magenta pink, which I don't really like. So if I want to change that, all I have to do is go over here so you can see like we turn straight up purple over here. That's not what I want, so we'll make it like a little bit like more just like red. And if I ever want to like make it dark or light, this is what I do. Okay, there, I think that looks better. I also like to make my greens a little bit more vibrant. If I want to do that, I will go ahead and adjust this tab. So I will be naming this tone. All right, so I think, oh, now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of different. It's kind of different. All right, I know it looks kind of different, but it's the same thing. I'll show you right now. Literally did the same thing. I did CST, brightness, LUT, tone, and then I used the dehancer plugin. And just to show y'all how it looks for the rest of the footages, I will copy and paste it over here, and it looks amazing. It looks great. If ever, I'll do this for this footage as well. Now, like I said, if you ever feel like something looks a little bit off and something looks like too highlighted or too vibrant, just go ahead and go to the tone panel. Like as you can see, this man's skin is looking very, very red and very, very burnt. We don't want that. You can go ahead and adjust this tab over here, make it less, or you can also just pretty much just adjust like the color to make him look like a little, you know, less burnt. For this footage, which is the footage with a lot of nature, if you don't really like the color of the greens, you can also change that. If you want to make it like purple, which actually looks pretty cool, you can leave it as that. But using the dehancer, if you can go ahead and go to color head, you can actually do the same thing. Go ahead and apply that. If you want to make it look very summery, go ahead and use the yellow and blues just like that. You can also make it look, you know, very DCEU if you ever decide to. All right, now that y'all are back again, dehancer is an amazing option for people who may be starting out with color grading, who are still learning, and for those of y'all that really want the film look. This is also perfect for people who are on the go because they do have a mobile version now, which is crazy. I really wish they had this when I first started using dehancer. If you're ever interested in getting dehancer, I do have a code. It is SUBBIES, but with a V, for 10% off of any dehancer products. But yeah, that is it. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all found it helpful, and if you did, let me know if y'all want to see more stuff like this, because honestly I really do more of like vlogs and whatnot. I'm just very thankful for dehancer. It's coming out to bless you, girl. Y'all should look into it if y'all are interested in getting the same look of footage that I have. But yeah, bye y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening, for watching in the vlogs, and just for being here. I will see y'all in the next one.